Power isn't always loud. It doesn't always roar or demand attention. Instead, it often resides in the quiet resolve of a person who recognizes their worth and refuses to shrink. This kind of strength doesn't make headlines. It creates shifts gentle, but unstoppable, like a woman standing firm in her trailer, unmoved until the world aligns with her vision. Tiffany Haddish learned this lesson by watching someone else embody it. Before she ever spoke her own lines, it was an ordinary day on set. But what happened backstage became extraordinary. Selma Hayek, a respected force in her own right, set a boundary without speaking a word. She simply remained in her trailer, refusing to come out until production made adjustments to reflect the representation she deserved. She didn't protest loudly. She didn't demand. She waited, as she demonstrated a kind of quiet resistance that made the room change course. Tiffany observed this moment closely. She realized power could be expressed quietly, not by raising your voice, but by holding your ground. Watching Selma made Tiffany reflect on her own worth and voice. She began to understand that sometimes the most powerful action is inaction, standing still with the confidence that the world will bend around you. That same calm, steady energy has shaped Tiffany's own career. It taught her that she doesn't need to be loud to be heard. She just needs to stay true to herself while refusing to compromise. That lesson became real in a fiery exchange with a director on set. They told her, "Black women don't do that." But Tiffany knew better. So she walked away. She took a moment to check in with herself. She returned, apologized for the disruption, and then said, "I'll do this scene my way." Her self-respect was unwavering. She wasn't playing a role. She was setting a boundary for herself and her legacy. Her ability to stand firm, yet still collaborate, is remarkable. She didn't shut down. She held space. She turned tension into dialogue, clash into collaboration, and that tension transformed into growth, has defined her evolution as an artist and a woman. Success, as Tiffany describes it, is not just about headline-worthy moments or flashy titles. True success, her kind of success, is about creating opportunities not just for herself, but for everyone around her. Whenever she says yes to a project, she's not merely saying yes to the camera lights. She's saying yes to jobs, to engineers, to creatives, to teams that feed off that energy and get to work. Each yes is a ripple, and every ripple moves people forward. That understanding leads to bold expressions of self-love. A private jet for her birthday, but not as a show-off. It was a milestone, a statement that she's unafraid to live, unafraid to enjoy, unafraid to break free from expectation. She manifested it. She says, "I wanted to do something I'd never done before. I blew a big-ass bag because why not? Because I'm here." That moment wasn't about extravagance. It was about marking her presence, celebrating her existence, and letting the universe know she was ready for whatever came next. That sense of self-belief has also manifested in smaller, accidental magic, coconuts floating in, doppelgangers, showing up like echoes from the past, synchronistic moments that don't just feel like coincidence, they feel like alignment, like her energy called them in. Those stories aren't gimmicks, they're glimpses into a person living intentionally. Yet even with that joy, there's realness in her struggles. Her relationship with Rashid ended, not with fireworks, but with the quiet discord of busy schedules that no longer matched. It wasn't drama, it was truth, and she owns that truth. She's single now, she says. Not searching, not hiding. She's simply living her life. In that calm acceptance is real freedom. But Tiffany's status in entertainment reminded her and reminds us that representation and equity still matter more than ever. Her show, "Kids Say the Darndest Things," was canceled for being too expensive. That sting matters because it points to broader systemic issues. When Black creators are too costly, when representation becomes a line item and not a necessity, Tiffany responds by not sulking. She speaks, she fights, she demands better. She says, loudly and clearly, we deserve to be seen, we deserve to be paid. We deserve to make our stories without compromise. And she doesn't just talk. She builds. She lifts. She pays it forward. Her vision of a healthy grocery store, tech, companies run by Black people, African innovation hubs, they're not one-off statements. They're part of a blueprint for generational change. That change doesn't come from noise. It comes from infrastructure, from strategy, from careful, intentional creation. But even real power has its cracks. Tiffany's personal life reveals her vulnerabilities. She discovered her mother's mental illness and confronted it with grace. She learned about her mother's struggle, strained, fractured, but always present in memory. She chose gratitude over resentment. She found forgiveness. And in doing so, she unblocked healing not just for herself, but for the next generation. Then there's her grandmother. When she got a dog for her grandma, it was simple. Yet it illuminated what money can't buy: everyday joy, healing, memory, connection. That dog brought laughter back into the room. Tears followed. Presence returned. That moment represents something bigger: how small acts of care hold space for real transformation, stillness, reflection, presence. A moment of truth followed by release. Tiffany says yes. She cried when receiving updates about her grandmother. She wrote checks. She flew home. She arranged healing energies. But she also recognized her limits. She prayed. She let go. She let God handle what she could not. That release, that humility, is another layer of quiet power. Through every chapter, breakdown sessions, tearful cries, moments of silence, bold statements, Tiffany reveals that real influence isn't always loud. Real resilience isn't always visible. It's quiet. It's persistent. It's subtle in the small daily choices: choosing peace over pressure, selecting presence over performance. That is the takeaway she offers. Her quiet power isn't absence of emotion or action. It's the synthesis of self-knowledge, of choosing truth even when vulnerable, and refusing to shrink even when the world asks you to. It's the strength in standing your ground without breaking your spirit. And it's a lesson for all of us. We don't have to scream to be heard. We don't need dramatics to make a point. We only need conviction. When you speak from your center, others will adjust. You don't have to shout. Your silence can still move mountains. Your calm can still change systems. Your unwavering presence can still rewrite your narrative. So today, as you watch Tiffany's journey unfold on screen, remember the power of stillness, the power of posing the question by staying quiet, the power of manifestation, the power of small acts of radical compassion, the power of standing firm. Because when the loudest world around us demands noise, the most radical thing we can do is simply stand our ground, speak our truth, and let our presence do the talking.